How you guys doing today? Oh my God, look who's here. We got Sid and Dennis. How are you guys this morning?
Well, it's just simply great. I will have to cut in front of Dennis because I'm older than him, and but yeah, it's doing fine for the being old.
Yeah? Dennis, how you doing this
Had a
weekend?
very busy weekend so far, and Sid and both you guys had very busy weekends.
You had a couple of nice personal things that
We
happened
had
in your
very
life?
nice personal things. We had a graduation, another high school graduation Sunday.
From which school?
I don't know where we were at Northern Illinois College,
Okay.
and I can't think of the name right now. But
There was a grandchild?
grandchild.
Yeah.
I had another grandchild 2 weeks ago, married up in Wisconsin.
Nice.
And it was a nice trip up there. Some of the people got sick on the food, I guess, but outside that, it was good.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And,
Good deal. So you had a good weekend.
We had a fantastic.
Great, great. Sid, you did some things over the weekend that everybody saw, which was the Memorial Day observance, which you've done many, many years, and that's pretty much focused on the VFW, but there was another presentation at Mount Emblem in Elmhurst at County Line and Grand Avenue. Tell us a little bit about what all happened yesterday.
Well, you want to start with? Excuse me, my ear itches. At the Post, the VFW, I have been fortunate enough to be able to put together a Memorial Day program for several years, in fact, more than I'd care to admit. And I feel very heavy about that. It's so important to remember those, especially those who have given their life in defense of our freedom. And that may sound kind of funny coming from a guy that likes to laugh too much, but yeah, it's a serious thing. I believe something like 1.3 million people, well, not three, I better restate that. 1.3 million people have died, made a premature demise in the defense of our country.
Right.
And I would add too, and I may be Pollyannish, but I think that still we have kept the greatest country in the entire planet. And that being said, we had a lot of people come out. I think we had about 200 people in the Post itself. And it seemed to be quite successful. Our commander, Tim Connolly, had a beautiful speech.
Commander elect, right? He's going to be sworn in soon, or he's
commander installed.
Installed. Okay.
He's not commander yet, but okay. It'll be in the middle of June. And he did a speech that had people just completely, I don't think anybody even coughed, when he was talking. And there were times when I wanted to get up and put my arm around him, but
he got a little emotional too.
Yes.
I was videotaping it, and I could see he had to stop a couple of times and make sure that he composed himself. But his background is pretty significant. He was a speaker at one of these events, maybe Veterans Day, in the past, from Vietnam, right?
He has a tremendous guilt complex. I don't even know if I should talk about that.
Well, he had some people that passed while he was in duty, and he was there.
He was in a gunner on a helicopter ship in Vietnam, and it had to make an emergency landing, crash landing, and he told his pilot, who was a new young lieutenant, that they had to leave the plane, and the lieutenant says, absolutely not, they'll rescue us here, they'll know where he's at. And Tim had said that the Kong will get there before our rescue will, and we have to leave. And he said, come on, and the lieutenant wouldn't, and Tim did leave, and Tim circled around. And the thing that gave him the guilt the most was he heard the shot.
Yeah.
And he knew that once they got the pilot, once they got somebody, that they would leave. And so he circled back and was rescued. And he's been carrying this guilt with him.
Yeah.
That why he didn't insist. And of course, he could have been charged with disobeying an order, or could have been a lot of charges, or he could have been charged with, even if he'd have carried the lieutenant, he would have been charged with hitting an officer or something like that. But he's carried his guilt.
Well, he is now the new commander of the VFW here at Post 2801 here in Villa Park. And I think you picked a good one. You picked a great guy, somebody that really, really cares, and they all have, but it's obvious how much Tim cares. He's also the bingo caller, right?
He's the bingo chairman.
Okay.
And I've worked with him for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. And I have come to find out that I think he's a great guy. We've socialized a lot, and also with the volunteer work. And I think we picked a good man. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll be more in the realm of the veteran service, a little more, and more of a, hopefully more of a thing that will help our post grow. And by the way, if anybody is listening and thinks they might be eligible for the VFW, please call us.
Well, you get a lot of free commercials out of the village, so there's another one. But I also wanted to mention that you were elected back to the governing body of the post in another capacity. You've been a surgeon in the past, you've been a commander, you've been a vice commander, all the other steps that people take through commanding the post. But what are you now?
Right now, I'm the chaplain-elect.
Chaplain-elect, so you do all the prayers.
I say with my lifestyle, I need all the help I can get.
Oh, this helps you more than the post, is what you're saying.
Yeah, what we will do, I will also, I've done many things, just about everything there is, and held just about every chairmanship in the post at one time or another. My love has been both the hospital work, which I have not done recently, which we'll go back into, and the 4th of July parade, and of course the services, Memorial Day and the Veterans Day. Yeah. And I think we've got people that will come in and take over and make changes, put their own ideas in, which I'm sure will enhance the programs.
Right. Well, you talked about the service of Tim Connolly, and he spoke as the commander installed, as you pointed out, during the ceremony, as well as Deborah Bowinkle and Pete DeCiani from the DuPage County Board, District 2. He's former mayor of Elmhurst, and he was there to speak. And a lady from the auxiliary post, the ladies auxiliary, read the description of what Memorial Day was all about, how it was instituted. What was her name again?
That was Marilyn Connolly. That was Tim's wife.
See, that wasn't obvious, but that's good to know. And excuse me. And also there was a special mention by one of the people who spoke, and I can't remember who, of a person in the audience that a lot of people know because he's around town. He also shows up at village board meetings. He's got a very distinctive mustache that filters down below his chin, and that's Billy. Billy, the car guy with the Willie, the 1940, 1930 something Willie car. He runs car shows. We're running the car show at the Summerfest, and he was singled out because of his experience in Vietnam. And I'm going to paraphrase this, Sid, and you verify that this is correct. But he was a person on a helicopter in Vietnam in the Army, was shot down, and was captured by the Viet Cong, and was a POW for 20-some days. Did I get that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I won't stop you.
Yeah, and he got a nice standing ovation from the folks that were there. He talked about 100 people, including our first responders, police and fire, and also the folks that were there from the Korean War and the World War II, including yourself, Sid, also got a nice ovation from the audience, and I think that's very well deserved.
The Wild Bill also works at Willowbrook, as I believe, as a volunteer, right, in the auto shop, right, and he has shown people how to rehab cars, hop them up, yeah, make not street rods, but being able to help the kids, youngsters, well, I'd say young people
Yeah.
that to into the love of being a mechanic,
Right.
making hot cars and that.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of his forte. He loves it. As I said, he runs the car show. He'll also be helping me and a couple other people run the car shows at Cortese Park, which are starting June 14th. That's a Sunday. Sunday night car shows from 3 to 8, June 14th through September. But we're going to skip the 4th of July weekend, which falls on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and not have one then. But Cortese Park, the Villa Park Sunday night car show, and Billy will be there. And thank him for what he did. I mean, that's pretty significant. Dennis, we've ignored you.
No, you haven't. You've been very interested. Thank you, Sid, for your service, first of all.
well, can I talk one more thing?
You can keep talking. We got a whole hour
The
for a while.
we were asked a couple of years ago to go out and retire a flag at Mount Emblem Cemetery,
Right.
and just take the old flag down and put the new one down as veterans. And because there was some lapse in the show that I could go over and got to be and did a little bit. So we've been invited back, and it's evolved into a nice short program, I think. And
Yeah. And let's tell people, for those that don't know, Mount Emblem Cemetery is located at Grand Avenue and County Line Road in Elmhurst. And that's the cemetery that you pass by going eastbound on Grand Avenue from Villa Park that has the windmill.
big windmill. Yeah.
Now under construction for, facelift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And several members of the VFW Post went there yesterday for Memorial Day. Not only Tim Connolly, but Tom Fors, Jerry
Jerry Hughes.
and two others. And one other person, I forgot.
Barry Coran.
Barry Coran, yes.
And yeah, I would add too that one of the things that my parents are buried in that cemetery,
Yeah.
so that's one of the reasons that I would go over there.
Yeah.
And I was so proud, so happy to see our own Al Stash there with his cameras still and the video.
Well, like you, I had reason to be at Mount Emblem too. My father-in-law is buried there in the military section. Gerald Abel. He was a Navy guy like you in World War II, and he was on one of the ships that got rid of mines. And he spent most of his time actually in the Atlantic, as you did. So you may have run into each other, or maybe been on the same ship from time to time. I don't know. But
There's only a few million people there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a great day for people to remember, and I have to, as long as we can give our own opinions on this show, and I hope you guys do consistently, I have to tell you that one thing that really irks me about Memorial Day is people posting messages, "Happy Memorial."
What are you supposed to say?
Have a great day. I don't know. I haven't figured this out yet, but when they say Happy Memorial Day, it's like saying Happy Funeral. You know, how does that make sense? Really?
It makes good sense, because what do you want to come down today for Memorial Day? You can't do that. You got to be positive about it. We should be honoring these people before they pass that far away.
Yeah.
When the Sid's here, like I said before, thank you for your service. But the same thing, how many hours do you volunteer a week or whatever?
I'm afraid to count.
Okay, I'll tell you what, he's probably volunteers with the village and every place else, good 40, 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
With no trouble. And, how old are you, Sid?
I'm, I'm 88 and 11.
Birthday coming up when?
June 24th.
June 24th.
Okay, everybody mark their calendars. June 24th is Sid's birthday.
Yeah,
and make sure you get appropriate gifts.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's been around for many years doing all this stuff. Where's everybody else?
Yeah.
How can I join the VFW?
How can you join the VFW?
Yeah,
First of all, you have to have an honorable discharge from from one of our services of the United States. The actual title of the VFW is the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to take people in from our allied services, such as people from Canada, and just the way it is, people are going up
Do you really want
earlier on.
Canadians there?
Pardon?
Do you really want Canadians in the post?
Well, I would tell
I mean,
you
they're nice
this,
people.
that there are people that I know that are Canadians well, there's one girl that owes me a dinner. Other than that,
Okay, we're going to switch the cameras over here now because Sid's going to go in a direction we're not sure about. So we're going to just hold off there. But the thing I don't like about Canadians is when you buy something from them in Canada, they give you goofy money. Can't do anything with it.
well, if you go over any other country, you're doing almost the same thing, I guess. But the idea there is buy United States.
Well, when you're in Canada, it's hard to do that. But anyway, I want to give a slight variation to your answer that Dennis asked about how do you join the VFW. First of all, the VFW is open to the public. And there was a lot of discussion about that yesterday. You can go in and enjoy Friday night fish fry. You can go in and enjoy the wings night. You can go and enjoy the Sunday brunch when they have it. And you can go in and sit down and have a drink with friends in the bar. They have the machines just like all of the other restaurants and bars that recently added the machines to play the video poker, etc. But the post is open to the public. And although a member of a full member of the VFW does have to have the qualifications that Sid pointed out, there's also auxiliary programs for people who had family members that were in the service that did not serve themselves, correct?
Yes, we have even friends of the VFW that want to help us. We have the men's and the ladies auxiliary of people, of relatives, close relatives that were eligible for the VFW.
What do they do? I mean, what do the auxiliaries do?
One of the bigger things, the men's auxiliary, of course, helps. Like last night, yesterday, they were helping me in one form or another. Ladies auxiliary, generally, when we have a function, will provide the food and service that way. They'll also raise money, which we can use to help defray the cost of operating that building, which is very heavy. And the men's auxiliary, the same way. Ladies auxiliary just recently had a summer fashion show, and unfortunately, I was out of town when it came up. 'Cause even I would have loved to have been there, even though it's more women's fashions.
Right.
But I like ladies, so that's no, we won't go there anymore.
So the point is, there are many doors to be
Yes.
involved with the VFW.
Yes.
General public, not even a member, can go in and enjoy some of the services and help support the VFW by coming in and having banquets there, having dinner there with the different events that you have. You don't have regular dinner nights, but Fridays and Thursdays that you have the wings night on Thursdays and Friday night fish fries, and also when you have, not every Sunday, the brunches, but also all of the other events that are there.
The Sunday brunch is generally the fourth Sunday, and we didn't have it this last Sunday because of Memorial Day. But don't forget bingo every Tuesday night.
I've been banned from playing bingo in most of the Midwest for calling bingo and not having it. Everybody cleared their cards, and I didn't have it. Bad. Okay? All right, so now we know more about the VFW. And I want to also mention that at the service at Mount Emblem, where you guys did the flag, you did the retiring of the flag, and it was tattered and torn, and I know it'll be burned the way it should be, and put up a new flag in front of the windmill. But also there was a pastor there from a Maywood church, and I don't remember his name right off the top of my head.
Elliot, and I can't.
Pastor Elliott. We just call him Pastor Elliott. He was tremendous in that he not only gave a nice talk, but he sang a cappella each of the service songs for each branch of service. And he did it on his own. He played or sang the Navy song, and you stood there saluting behind him. The Air Force, Army, Marines, he sang them all. And then he sang the first verse of Taps before it was actually played by the trumpeter that was in the background. And I went up to him afterwards and I said, boy, you really added a lot to this presentation because he really put out there a good effort, I think.
I have to completely agree with you.
Yeah.
He was, oh man, what a, his talk was also,
Yes.
well, you can't compare Tim and Elliot, but it was just fantastic too. I have to agree with you completely.
Well, folks will see a rebroadcast of not only the VFW presentation but also the Mount Emblem presentation because I had the opportunity to go in and record that. And I will get that on the channel, on our Channel 6, Channel 99 on AT&T. And it'll also be on YouTube so people around the country can look at it. I actually had a person in the audience who obviously was a family member of someone who had passed this year ask me, how do I watch it in St. Louis? And we're going to be able to tell you about that at the end of the show, so you'll have a good idea of how you can see what happened right here in Villa Park, even if you have family members and could not attend. But we've got another packet, and I'm going to hold this up for a second. Look at that. This is 19 pages, I believe, that we're going to discuss, not in detail. Don't worry, don't switch channels yet. Not in detail, but we want to talk about something that these two guys have experience in, and that is politics. And I know both of you have
I'm
been
not a politician.
I know you're not currently, but you've been in the political arena in a lot of different capacities, not only as a village trustee, but also in the Republican Party. I know you've served many capacities. I have not done anything other than vote, so I'm not at the same level you guys are. But I wanted to discuss something.
Before we get into that,
Yes.
you tell me you go out and vote.
Yes.
Do you vote for a candidate or you vote against a candidate?
That's a great question. I usually vote for a candidate. I don't really go out there to make sure someone doesn't get elected. I go out there and vote for, except with judges. I have no clue on judges.
Do your homework.
I don't want to sit in court or read court reports to figure out how judges are rated or anything like that. But, you know, when they say pick 3 of 3, it's like, why am I here? You know, why should I do that?
Well, skip it then. Don't vote.
Well, I pick 3 because it says pick 3. I'm Catholic and I do what I'm told. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Don't throw away your vote.
The nuns told me what to do and I did it. Same thing with the ballot. But I love that question. Do you vote against somebody or for somebody? I can tell you I always vote for somebody.
Okay.
What would be your answer to that?
I vote for somebody, and if I don't know who they are, I don't vote that position.
You leave it blank.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Sid.
not-
I have to not chastise, but call Dennis down because he's a Republican all the way through his heart, and a Republican committee man. And so I think even if somebody doesn't like somebody, he's going to vote for Republican. And I don't know that for sure, but I'm just conjecturing it. I like to vote.
When you go behind that machine, nobody knows how you vote.
You're absolutely
Nobody
right.
knows how you vote. You can talk all you want, but you vote your feelings or you vote your party or whatever you want to do.
There you go, folks. Dennis has voted Democrat. That's
Without
one
a
of the
doubt.
others. See? Right? See? Now he's corrected you, Sid.
We grew up in Chicago. My father was a Democrat committeeman, so you know we always voted. But we always voted, and we always voted the way we wanted to.
Right.
You know, I've talked Republican Party, like he says, and everything else. But you got good Republicans out there, you got good Democrats out there. Very good.
And we are going to talk about that because we're looking at a piece of paper. Just on the front page of this 19 pages are, I don't know how many candidates that are declared or possible candidates, Democrat and Republican, for the 2016 presidential election, which means that somewhere down the line, one of these people is going to be voted president, and like 30 of them won't. But
I disagree with you.
go ahead. So I'm sorry. How do
One
I?
of these may not be voted president. There could be some newcomer come in yet we haven't heard of.
Boy, they would have to be.
8 years ago, what happened 8 years ago when Hillary Clinton was way ahead of everybody else,
Yeah.
and this young guy from Chicago came up? He was not one of these guys that a year ahead of time. He was not on the ballot at that time.
Okay, so, I mean, there are more names that we're gonna
That's
follow
right.
up on, so
That's right.
and seriously, there's 4 pages like this of names of people that are talking or being considered or considering themselves to run. And, we're gonna go through some of them that we know now,
Okay.
okay? And, talk about, opinions at this point in time of both sides, Democrat, Republican, and there's actually an independent, on the list. And then talk in detail about what they present to the people of the United States in terms of their ability to lead and govern as a U.S. president. Okay? Sound fair?
Sure.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
You know, put your gloves on, or are we
No.
going to do this nice?
No.
We'll,
On the Democratic side, I think
Here, let's go
Today
through the
will
list.
be
Let's go through
nice.
the list. Wait, what?
today will be nice.
Today will be nice.
Well, fairly nice. Well, no, we won't use fisticuffs.
yeah.
All right.
promise.
Let me just say, before we get started into the particulars of the individuals, what we have today, May 26, 2015, more than almost 18 months before the election. We have 2 declared candidates on the Democratic side that are being called Democrats,
Yes.
and 6 declared on the Republican side. The 2 on the Democrat side, and I put that in quotes, and I hate when people do this, but I'll do that. Hillary Clinton, who was former Secretary of State, and Bernie Sanders, who is a current sitting senator from Vermont, excuse me. He also is actually an independent, which is why I qualify
Yeah.
the Democrat, but he caucuses or meets with the Democrats while in Senate caucuses or meetings, policy meetings and plans. Then on the Republican side, there are, as I said, 6 declared candidates: Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina, Mike Huckabee, Rand Paul, and Marco Rubio. Did I get that right, guys?
Yep.
I forget anybody?
Well,
That's declared.
declared. Okay.
Okay.
Before you go any further, where did you get this this ballot sheet from, or this sheet from?
This sheet is from ballotpedia.org, which would be like an encyclopedia of politics.
Okay,
Okay?
just so that you know that we're going to we don't have any preferences about from any other way, just except what we think about these people.
Right, and what's written here is not our commentary. It's just some cliff notes that you would use if you didn't recognize a person. But your opinions is what we want to hear. So, Dennis, you wanted to start in? Go ahead.
I think Hillary Clinton on the Democratic side has got to be the candidate, but it's not showing yet. You know, I know she made the announcement, but she's got to raise $1 billion. Not $1 million, but $1 billion.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It's a
Phenomenal.
Can you imagine? I mean, not just the Democrat, but Republican. Can you imagine what they could do with that money if they didn't have to run a campaign like this? They
Right.
could fix 20 schools, 30 schools in the area,
Right.
and both sides got to raise $1 billion this year. It's the most expensive campaigns I've ever going to see.
Campaign financing has gone crazy. It's gone, electronic. People make donations over I made one donation a while ago, and I'm still getting emails daily.
Your name is sold
For
all over.
everyone
Your name is
associated.
sold all over. It's
Yes,
sold.
yes. And that's part of it, and I agree on both sides. When they talk about the news media that's democratically slanted or Republican slanted, they always say the other guy's raising too much money or the other guy's getting money from bad sources, whatever it might be. You're right, though. You got to spend
You got to put a limit on it somehow.
Millions and
you gotta
billions.
stop that kind of spending of money. Just
right.
every ad on the TV, even in Chicago, every ad on TV would maybe have 20 minutes
Yeah.
with a different politician.
Hmm.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, let's get into who these politicians are and your opinions at this point in time. On any of the politicians, okay? So I'm going to go through each one at a time. I don't want you to just pick from the list.
Okay.
I want to go through each one of them. And we'll start out with, let's start out with the Republican side, the declared candidates. There is a person who I don't know much about. His name is Ben Carson. And I actually have to look for him. I know of him, but I don't know details of Ben. Okay, look how educated we are in this process. There he is. Okay,
He's
pediatric
he's
neurosurgeon.
ex-military,
Okay,
and he's been around a long time. But how is he qualified for being president?
Oh, I remember now who this guy is.
okay, yeah. It says here. Let me just read the description. Most recent position is a pediatric neurosurgeon, retired in July of 2013. Ben Carson, Republican. On May 3rd, 2015, Carson announced his bid for the presidency the day before his scheduled campaign. And his quote was, "I'm willing to be part of an equation, and therefore I'm a candidate for the President of the United States." He's director of pediatric surgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Gave a conservative speech at the National Prayer Breakfast, and he's dissatisfied with Barack Obama's policies and direction of the country. So that doesn't really tell you a lot about him other than what he did as a living. It doesn't tell you much about Mr. Carson.
I think if you just read the statements there, I think he's running for vice president.
That's a good point. Some of these folks are just out there to get their name
to get
there.
the name going first, then
be on the short list.
The convention would be on the short list. You know.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it appears too that from his resume as a running a hospital or a portion of it, that he has got experience in operating in what am I trying to say?
Medical profession.
Well, in the medical profession, but being running a business type thing.
Yeah.
And medical is just like anything else. You have to know what you're doing. You have to visualize, know your people, and hire and fire, and know how good they are.
Okay, so that's some positive things about him. Let's go to the next guy on the Republican list, and that's Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz.
He's a senator from Texas.
Senator from Texas, and he gets a lot of playtime because of his opinions and his activities in the Senate with filibusters, and he is declared senator from Texas. He did it electronically too, by the way. He didn't come out and do a speech. His first thing was a tweet on Twitter, which means he did it over the internet. And he was the Solicitor General of Texas, youngest Solicitor General in the nation, the longest serving first Hispanic Solicitor General in the state among his accomplishments. And he authored 80 U.S. Supreme Court briefs and argued 43 oral arguments, including 9 before the Supreme Court. So he's a lawyer.
He's an attorney. He's from Texas.
And a senator.
Another Texas. Is he going against Ted Bush?
Jeb Bush.
Jeb Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going against him or not? You know.
Yeah.
Isn't he a little on the conservative side?
Yeah.
Something like a Tea Party person?
Well, I believe that's true. I believe that's true.
To my way of thinking, and this could be, folks, you could really bash me for it, but I believe that we need a far more moderate people. I think that we have got the best country in the world, and we want to keep it that way and make it even better. To go back and Tea Party people, please forgive me, but to pull the wagons in a circle is not the way to go.
Okay. Well, the other thing I want to ask about this is, as we go through, is, in your opinion, Ted Cruz electable as president?
No.
Say it again?
No.
Sid?
I can't answer that.
You don't want to answer?
I don't want to answer that one.
Okay, I'm going to say an emphatic no. Okay. That's my opinion.
Why do you say no?
I think his opinions are radical. I think his positions are radical. The fact that he's associated with the Tea Party does not in itself make him unelectable. Just the way he approaches things, to me, takes him off the radar.
I'll go from Patrick Stray, and I would say no because of the fact he doesn't have a chance with his people. The older people,
Yeah.
most of us are here right now,
Yeah.
the older people does not go on the computer. They don't know what this guy is doing on the social networking.
Right.
They just don't. The younger people who know what's going on don't vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, let me now go to the next one, and that's Carly Fiorina, who is actually a former CEO of Hewlett Packard, the computer company, from 1999 to 2005. She announced her bid on Good Morning America, so on TV. So you maybe you saw that instead of being on the internet.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
see it, yeah.
And
She was like American conservative too.
okay, conservative.
Yeah. But she's another, like Sid would say, extreme.
You think she's extreme?
Yeah.
Okay, Sid, your opinion.
I don't know too much about this lady. From what we have here, her background is in business. Gives us a good shot about how how to run a big corporation such as the U.S. government. However, I don't know how she feels about the people. A Republican Party, and I hate to have to say this, but since the days of Ronald Reagan, has been going leaving people alone a little more and going more for the upper class, or not the middle class.
Okay.
They've been taking and cutting little pieces of the middle class off, making more poor people than.
We're going to have to
Than
put a
making
D
good
under
ones.
your name when we see you now.
No, that's very interesting. Why do you think there's no middle class today?
Oh, there's a middle class.
Where?
I think, great, I'm a middle class. You're a middle class.
But, why is it falling apart, the middle class?
Why? Because
They're not represented by nobody, truthfully. Hillary Clinton is representing one side, our current governor is representing the other side. There's nobody in the middle representing the middle class people.
I don't. I can't tell you you're wrong, Dennis. But I feel in my gut feeling is that I know. Perhaps I may be more bad about this, but that we should be making our voices heard.
That's going back to the inactive.
Yeah. And no, I can't tell you a general statement. How can you beat a general statement and say other than say with another general statement?
Okay, Al's middle class now. What does
Yes.
he feel about that?
Well, I think there is a candidate that does represent middle class. I don't know if that's.
As I said, name two.
I like the, yeah, you said name too, so that's hard. But I think there is, and we'll get to him in a second, and that's
Okay.
going to be Bernie Sanders because of the statements and the approach that he makes
Okay.
and the things that he pushes. But I want to keep going here
Yeah.
with a couple more on the Republican side, because I don't want to wear you guys down, and then we get to the Democrat and you don't be enthusiastic about your opinions there. So let's go to Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee is the governor, or former governor of Arkansas, and he is a television host. He's also a former pastor, is he not? Was he religious oriented?
I think so.
It's not even mentioned here anymore because
it
he's
doesn't.
run for president before and then got out of it early before the election or before the candidates were named. So Mike Huckabee, let me go to Dennis first. Electable, non-electable, like him, don't like him. What do you think?
I think he had his chance in the past.
In the past, he had a chance.
Yeah,
His ship has left the port.
I think so.
Okay, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm Sid. I think he's electable. I think all folks, sometimes all these people get mixed up in my head, but it seemed to me that he was far more liberal than, say, the next guy, Paul Rand. Rand Paul, yeah. And yes, I think that if he comes out and continues what he has been, if he doesn't go Tea Party and he come back and say, hey, we got to do this, get ahead, we got to continue to forge ahead in our making life better for us, I think he's electable.
Well, he served for 11 years as governor of Arkansas, so he has governing capabilities. And obviously he was reelected as a governor. And I think you're right, Dennis. I think his ship has left the port.
Okay.
He'll be able to get a voice out there, and an evangelical, a religious base.
But when he ran for governor of Arkansas, he was running against the president of the United States, who was Clinton at that time.
Right.
From Arkansas.
Right.
So they had his vote split in the state of Arkansas.
All right. Let me go to another Republican candidate. This one is a senator from Kentucky. His name is Rand Paul, and he made his announcement again on the internet in 2015, April 7th. And then he had a rally in Louisville, Kentucky. His father, Ron Paul, that's how you confused it with saying Rand Paul, ran for presidency 3 times as a Libertarian Party candidate and once in 1988. So let's get back to Rand Paul. He is a eye doctor, I believe, and he also gets lots of play. I think he just did a filibuster speech in the Senate last week. He enjoys making his opinion known, which is great. I like that. But let's ask that question. Is he electable, and what's your opinion of it?
I think his father's name is hurting.
His father being a Libertarian name is hurting him
Yes,
in the Republican side.
Republican Party.
Okay. Okay. Sid?
I don't think he's electable. I think he's way too conservative.
Way too conservative. Okay. Okay. All right. One more that's declared candidate on the Republican side, and that is the senator from Florida, Marco Rubio. He is actually of Cuban descent, and he was made his announcement on a conference call with donors. He says he's uniquely qualified for the nomination, and the call came hours before a scheduled campaign rally in Miami. He's a member of a group of senators deemed the Gang of 8, whatever that means, and this term is used to reference 8 of most influential senators on immigration reform, and includes 4 senators from each party. So immigration is a big deal so far with Marco Rubio. Let me ask the question. He's a young senator, first term. Marco Rubio, electable, in your opinion?
My opinion, no.
No, not electable.
Not electable.
Okay. Sid?
Let it be known that I agree with Dennis.
Okay. I've seen him in interviews where it should have gone well for him, and it didn't. I don't think he's ready. I think he's too green to be elected president on a national stage. That's
Two
just my
good
opinion.
things. Who made him one of the group of 8? Who appointed him?
I don't know.
I think they appointed himself or either one.
Oh, okay. So he jumped in.
Four and four.
Okay.
And second of all, was he born in the United States or was he not born in the United States?
Good question, but citizenship obviously has to be declared based upon the parents, no matter where you're born. So I think, for example, one of the Bushes was born out of country and became president, but his parents were, I'm sorry, not Bush.
Wasn't Bush, no.
No, the senator from Arizona.
Barry Goldwater?
No, current.
Okay.
He ran with
Oh, no, he was,
He was born in the Philippines. His father was an admiral. So he was born in the Philippines. Kane.
boy,
We're seniors. This happens to us. We can't
No,
remember
you know,
that. Okay. Let's go to the Democratic side. Hillary Clinton. She's former Secretary of State and former First Lady. Served as senator from New York from 2001 to 2009. Lost the Democratic presidential primary to Barack Obama. And she's the first former lady to serve in the U.S. Senate and in a president's cabinet. So we'll start with me because I lean Democrat. I'll say that.
you
but
do. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. But I try to be fair.
No, no.
I try to be fair. I believe she's electable, and I think that she has a lot of issues to deal with during her candidacy that will disrupt it. Not only her term with her husband in the White House, but also recent events that keep coming up. And she's a target because she's in the lead, so that's the way it should be. She had better be able to handle it. But I think of the others that we'll talk about, she's the one that's going to get the nomination. And electable, yes. Will she win? I don't know. Your guys' opinion.
8 years ago, 16 months before the election, she was way ahead of Obama. There
Uh-huh.
was nobody else out there, but she was ahead of the time. And Obama came out of nowhere. I think the candidate's going to come and challenge her is not in the picture yet.
Okay.
But I think she's good. She's very active. She knows what's going on and everything else. But the big problem right today is, like you mentioned, her foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation is they're using money all over the place. Yeah, is it another place to hide money, or I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't think anybody else does either.
Right.
Her email, that's her business. You know, her personal email and stuff like that's going on. That's ridiculous. That's excuse me, but it's the press
Yeah.
doing that one. And
Filling up their 24 hours of news.
that's all. It's doing the press and just keep coming up with the press. Foundation is doing this. Foundation is out there to do what she wants to do. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Sid. Hillary Clinton, Sid. Vote for her?
I would vote for Hillary over anybody that has declared so far.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
good.
Good
Yeah.
opinion for you.
And I know for a fact that you would get out and vote. You know, but the average person doesn't. You know. What we're going to get 30% this time?
Now, getting back to this, there are people that are possible that could beat her.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to get to that list right
But,
now. But
I don't know.
Let's go to Bernie Sanders, who is a current senator from Vermont. And he, again, is independent but caucuses, as in meets with and associates with, and usually votes with the Democratic side. He was named a progressive, meaning he goes after a lot of issues aggressively as a liberal senator. And that's as much as I can say. He gets a lot of press because of his opinions, which are radical on the Democratic side in a lot of cases. So let me ask both of you gentlemen, starting with Sid this time. Bernie Sanders, electable in your opinion of him?
Electable.
Electable?
I think you characterize him as a little too much liberal. I think he's, well, maybe, again, liberal, progressive, whatever. It's all in your own mind, your own interpretations, rather. So, but yeah, he would give Hillary a run.
Okay. Dennis?
I don't think he's got a chance of winning, but if he's an independent, why is he on the Democratic ticket? And second of all, how's he going to beat Hillary?
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't have the money that she does and everything else.
Well, one of the things that happens sometimes, that we've seen at least on the state level for governors, et cetera, when they feel that they're not going to get the nomination, then they split and say, okay, I'm not Democratic anymore, I'm independent.
Independent.
And do you think that might happen if he gets to the point where he says, I can't beat Hillary, or whomever might show up on the Democratic side?
No, not for president.
No, not for president.
No,
That's a big
he
move.
can't get up at enough people to work. You know, we're talking nationwide.
Right.
And you got to get an army out there working. The Democrats in Chicago got the army going already, you know, and they know which way they're going.
Okay. All right. We've already heard from you, so let me tell you that I believe that this is the guy that's middle class focused
Okay.
because of his opinions about unions and the spread of finances in the country, the top 1% of the most wealthy people versus the middle class, and how the taxes are implemented. So I think he's going to be a formidable opponent to Hillary Clinton, but not a Democratic nominee.
Okay.
Okay, he'll get his word out, but maybe include a lot of his policies in the platform.
He'll split their party a little bit then.
Yeah, if he goes independent, then Republicans win.
Yeah, he doesn't have to win in the primary then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, the other thing I want to do, let me switch back to me for a second, is to just go through the list very quickly, because we've got a few minutes, of all the other possibles, and we know some of them will be declared, but some of them not, on the Democratic side while we're there, and just pick one or two that you say are definitely not, or definitely are electable. And I'll say the list, and as I'm saying this list, please tell me when I'm all done. First of all, the current Vice President Joe Biden, not declared but possible candidate. Lincoln Chafee, possible not candidate. Andrew Cuomo, who is the governor of
New York.
New York.
Not declared, but a possible candidate. And by the way, when I say a possible candidate, they've been interviewed and asked, and somebody said, well, I'm not saying no, or I could run. A lot of people say that, but because they're significant in the political world, they list them here. Kirsten Gillibrand, who is, I think, a senator in New York. Amy Klobuchar. Dennis Kucinich, who is a representative in the U.S. House. Martin O'Malley, I know nothing about Martin. Brian Schweitzer. Mark Warner. Elizabeth Warren, who is a senator from one of the eastern states, and Jem Webb. Anybody on there that you say or think is definitely not going to be elected, or shouldn't run, or could run and possibly elected?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden what?
He could run and be elected.
Okay, current vice president.
Yes.
Anybody else?
No.
Two people. If something comes up with Hillary
Uh-huh.
that would blast her off, then I think Elizabeth Warren
Okay.
could be in there. Joe Biden is definitely a possibility.
Okay. Okay. A couple of people that come up on the list, I agree with Dennis. Joe Biden is a viable candidate. Whether or not he's elected is another thing. Elizabeth Warren also, she's popular now because of her Democratic stance and opinion. One guy I think is never going to be elected is Dennis Kucinich. He's the guy that keeps calling for every president to be impeached in the U.S. House, and I just think he's off the radar. I don't know that he'll be a declared candidate. Okay? On the Republican side, a lot of names here, some important names because we know that they are going to be candidates soon. I'll start at the top. Kelly Iota, Jeb Bush, the current or past
Governor
of
Florida.
Florida. President's brother from George W. Bush, and George H. Bush, that was his father. Chris Christie, the current seated governor from New Jersey. Mitch Daniels, I should know him, but I don't.
He's from Indiana.
Indiana, thank you. Lindsey Graham, a senator from South or North Carolina, I can't remember which.
I think it's South Carolina.
South.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Very, very vocal and has shown more than just an interest in running. Nikki Haley, who is a senator from one of the East Coast states. Bobby Jindal, who is a governor from Louisiana. Still sitting governor, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. John Kasich, who I think is a governor from somewhere. Peter King from New York. He's a representative, U.S. representative in New York.
Okay.
Susanna Martinez, know nothing about her. George Pataki, I think former governor of New York, correct?
I don't know.
We'll find out. Mm-hmm. Mike Pence and Rick Perry, who was former governor and former candidate from Texas. We'll start out with Sid. Pick a name out there that you think could be elected or more, and also the ones that shouldn't run.
I meet Jeb Bush with mixed emotions. I don't like the idea of having three people from the same family being in the top spot. But he's a good man.
Yeah.
Chris Christie is, he's flamboyant. Mm-hmm. And he's had some good publicity and he's had some very bad publicity. Yeah. I like some of the rest of the people, I just don't know too much about.
Okay. Dennis.
Jeb Bush, I think he's got a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Sid. I don't like the idea of the same party, same family. Mitch Daniels from Indiana. He was the head of Purdue University. He was a good guy. Mm-hmm. From being in Indiana, I think he's got a good chance to come in. Mm-hmm. But my choice is still not on there yet. Walker from Wisconsin.
Okay. Scott Walker from Wisconsin. Why? He's a declared candidate. Why isn't he on this list?
Well, it all depends who prints the list up. You know, like Sid
That's
was
terrible.
asking,
He should have been on this list.
No, Sid was asking who prints this up. These are political too, just like $18.
Yeah, you're right. That's terrible. Scott Walker. Let's point that out. Scott, and thank you for reminding.
Scott Walker from Wisconsin.
He should be on this list.
I think he's a young man. I don't think he's going to go for president. I think he's going to go for vice president, but he's got to announce for presidency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And,
Boy, would I disagree with you. Not disagree with, no, I take that back.
Well,
I would not vote for
They're
him.
they're gonna go now, they're gonna go
I
now.
know, I understand. I'm talking with 2 union people here. It would be against Scott Walker automatically.
Right.
You know, truthfully, is it working up there in Wisconsin? I think it is. You know, I was in Wisconsin 2 weeks ago for a wedding up there. There's construction all over the place, not just highways with our money, but private construction going all over. Buildings, factories. They're taking our business away from Illinois like crazy. Our business are moving that way. It's moving to Indiana, moving all over. And we're sitting back and saying, well, we don't want to hurt the unions. I'm sorry. We have to do something to survive.
You're making me hate him even more.
Why, Sid? Why don't you like Scott Walker?
Just what he just said.
Well, tell me in your words.
I firmly believe, first of all, let me say this. I firmly believe that the union as a whole, as a general statement, made more people a middle class and took them from a lower thing into a middle class, good living than anything else. And it's true that we have got some people in there, and that the pendulum has gone too high with some of the unions. Some of it, the salaries may be too much, but it's still something that it has taken those of us who are not smart enough to be able to run a business up into $1 million, the type of thing, and has given us a good living. And I think that Walker, with his, he may be making Wisconsin much better, but if you say he's taking business from Illinois, he's helping himself by hurting other people.
Well, I believe that we should take a business from Illinois. I think Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, a few others, we should be working together to bring businesses here from overseas instead of fighting each other. Instead of us fighting Wisconsin, let's fight Indiana. We should be all working as a team.
So I appreciate your time today and your opinions. They're always good. Maybe we'll get more heated conversations in the future. I don't care. You guys are great friends. I appreciate you being on the show, and I appreciate you folks back in Villa Park and around the country and the world watching us here today. We'll see you next time, next Tuesday, 10 o'clock, but watch us any day at 10 o'clock for repeats of the show. Thanks for watching.